is just ignorant. You suing this man, got all the receipts, because you've been through this before.
And he got what he needed.
He got what he needed. From whom?
Miss Blackman.
Right.
And that's why I said
And it sounds like to me, if there's somebody here that needs to be filing suit, it's Miss Blackman. Your case is dismissed.
Miss Martin is back in court to settle the paternity of her 5th child, Ramere. She claims that Mr. Blackman, the father of her other 4 kids, has been mistreating Ramere, which is why she wants to take all her kids away from him. Mr. Blackman doesn't believe Ramere is his, especially since Miss Martin admitted to cheating on him. Talk about a messy situation.
The father of your 4 kids treats your newborn baby like an evil stepchild.
Yes.
Because he doubts paternity. Furthermore, you claim that his behavior has forced you to take the kids and leave him.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're asking the court to award you $3,100 for the next 6 months of child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Martin admits her feelings for Mr. Blackman faded because she didn't feel loved or appreciated. According to her, he's been emotionally and verbally abusive, which has only worsened their relationship. But Mr. Blackman isn't taking the blame without firing back. He claims she doesn't fulfill her motherly duties for their other 4 kids properly. It's a case of accusations flying on both sides.
We have 5 kids together. 6 with his daughter is also my stepchild. He always called me fat, you know, you lazy, you nasty, you don't do this. But how can I when I got a man saying all these things to me?
I can only say what I come home to.
Hold on now.
Miss Martin reveals they've been together for 6 years and have 4 kids, but Mr. Blackman still refuses to marry her. She gave him an ultimatum, which he ignored, so she started dating someone else. Now, the other man, Mr. Stevens, could potentially be Ramere's father, but who knows?
I gave him an ultimatum. I was ready to get married. I feel like after 6 years, why are you not ready? That's because you exploring your options. Maybe you looking for something better. I don't know, but if that's the case, then let me go.
So you left?
Yes, and he begged me to come back, and now he wants to get married.
The judge asks if Miss Martin feels guilty for leaving her kids and their father for 3 months to be with another man. She responds with a firm no, explaining that Mr. Blackman had been a liar and a cheater in the past, leaving her emotionally traumatized. This, she says, justified her actions.
I didn't feel guilty because he did a lot. He cheated. He's not no saint. I didn't feel guilty because
no saint, but
I was faithful to him.
That, though. We got past. We were trying to build a life together that you claimed.
He thought that we got past it, but I was still dealing with a lot of hurt.
Miss Martin says she came back to Mr. Blackman because she loved him and their kids, but Mr. Blackman isn't convinced. He doesn't believe her story or her intentions for returning.
To make it work for my kids.
But you see, Your Honor, she wanted to make it work for her kids, not for me. So that means she
You
couldn't
wasn't trying to make it work for me.
You were in an intimate relationship with Mr. Stevenson. Did you go back to Mr. Blackman?
Yes, she
Yes.
came back.
Why did you go back?
Because I loved him. I was not in love with him, but I loved him, and I thought we had a fighting chance.
When the judge asks about Mr. Stevens' reaction to her pregnancy, Miss Martin says he was happy at first, but shortly after, he disappeared and was unreachable for about 6 months.
For a minute, and then he just disappeared. He completely disappeared. I didn't hear from him for another 4 or 5 months.
Happy for a minute, then disappeared? Jerome, I think it's time we meet Mr. Stevenson. Please escort him into the courtroom.
Mr. Stevens is called into the courtroom, and he confirms he was initially happy about the pregnancy, but then disappeared. He explains he had to distance himself because Miss Martin constantly called him a deadbeat dad and didn't appreciate him.
She was pregnant. What was your initial reaction?
First I was happy, and then I just disappeared.
She said that. That's exactly what she said. Why did you disappear?
She kept calling me a deadbeat daddy, this and that, that and that. I got tired of listening to
Because
her.
he wasn't there. That's what you was. He brought a used car seat to the hospital.
Who did?
Mr. Stevenson.
After giving birth to Ramere, both Mr. Blackman and Mr. Stevens came to the hospital, but neither of them signed the birth certificate. Miss Martin ended up signing it herself, naming the baby after Mr. Blackman, thinking he was the father.
But he had to go back home to the kids. After I had the baby, Mr. Stevenson came. He was just like, oh, well, I want a DNA test, and he want the baby to have his name, but he didn't want to sign the birth certificate. But drilling me about a last name or a name, and I gave him Blackman. My baby name is Ramere Jeremiah Blackman.
Miss Martin brought Mr. Blackman's sister to court as a witness. She testified that she has been caring for Ramere since his birth because she believes her brother, Mr. Blackman, is the biological father. Judge Lauren angrily rejects Miss Martin's 3100 child support request, stating that she's been playing both sides to her advantage. It becomes clear that Mr. Blackman's sister has been the one doing most of the care for Ramere since birth, exposing Miss Martin's inconsistent behavior.
Me, if there's somebody here that needs to be filing suit, is Miss Blackman. Your case is dismissed. And the worst part about it is the only people that have truly paid for these mistakes.
Mr. Stevens was ready to step up and care for Ramere, but Miss Martin never appreciated his efforts. So, who's the real father? There's only one way to find out. The DNA results will tell.
Mr. Stevenson, you are his father.
Huh?
Come here. I know you trying to be strong. You stop it.
Ms. Morris is 100% certain that Mr. Byrom is the father of her 1-month-old son, Jackson. She already has 2 kids with him, so she's confident this third one is his too. But Mr. Byrom believes she cheated and that the DNA test will prove he's not the father. If it does, he's ready to walk out of her life for good.
Relationship is based on this paternity test right here.
Explain.
This is the second time she's done this to me since we've been together. This isn't just the first time that she's cheated on me. This is the second time. And I've been nothing but faithful and loving to her since day one.
Second time, it happened once.
Ms. Morris, did you cheat on him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Byrom discovered Ms. Morris had cheated on him with his friend after going to her grandma's house following a fight. He saw his friend on the couch through the window, and when he entered the house, he found out the friend was hiding in the attic. Not only had Ms. Morris cheated with his friend, but she'd hidden him at her grandma's house too.
Out of the house, and basically I just went home and got my stuff together and left for a couple months.
So, Ms. Morris, how do you end up sleeping with his friend?
We were having trouble way before I even slept with his friend.
Good call, Mr. Byrom. Ms. Morris defends herself by saying their marriage was already falling apart before the affair. She claims Mr. Byrom was constantly accusing her of cheating, but given the situation, it looks like he wasn't far off, considering she cheated with his close friend. Honestly, could she have done anything worse to him?
Technically, we split up for a month. And he was living down the street at his friend's, and he was dating a different girl, and I was staying in the house with the guy, the other potential father. So we split up for.
The only
So
reason
you-
I left is because you cheated on me.
It gets even worse. Ms. Morris claims she conceived Jackson in late September, but here's the catch. She slept with Mr. Byrom's friend on September 25th and with Mr. Byrom himself on September 27th. So now, either of them could potentially be Jackson's father.
The time she's saying she was sleeping with him every day. I would go over there and get mine in the morning, and she would have him at night.
We split up for a month. And he was constantly blowing my phone up every day because we completely split up. He moved to his friends down the street, and I was still in the house. Like, I was the one that got to stay at the house with.
Ms. Morris sure isn't making things easier. She claims her fling with the other guy only lasted the 1 month they were separated, while Mr. Byrom insists it went on for 4 months. But the real question is, if it was that long, why did Mr. Byrom even take her back in the first place?
I want to be there for my kids. I'm trying to make stuff work with her. That's it. My dad dipped out on me, and I'm not dipping out on my kids.
So, did you tell the other guy, Ms. Morris, that he could be the father as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
She's still talking to his mom about it.
No.
Sending his mom pictures of the baby.
Ms. Morris claims the other potential father of her baby, Jackson, is in prison, which is why he isn't present in court. Mr. Byrom, who has been supporting Jackson, admits he keeps his distance to avoid forming an emotional bond with a child he believes might not be his. The underlying question remains, why did Ms. Morris choose to cheat with Mr. Byrom's friend?
Care her and our kids by myself. She don't work.
I go to school. I go to cosmetology school, and the only reason I had to drop out was because I had the baby. So I plan on going back in the fall. It's just I have to get, a babysitter and stuff. So it's not like I sit around the house and do nothing.
In addition to all of this, Ms. Morris is not present at home to take care of the kids with Mr. Byrom. Inasmuch as the air is thick with the question of who the real father is, he claims that she is not present and he does everything himself. What a complicated relationship, really.
So he's always, like I said, he's always
He was always there because he was my friend.
He was always over a lot, I'll admit that, but it's just, he's always treated me like crap. He always belittles me. It's been going on for 4 years now, and it's just...
Do you have feelings for this other guy?
No, I don't.
Despite all this, Ms. Morris says she wants a second chance. She believes that she can make her marriage work, and that isn't the end of the road.
I'm ready to basically move on with our family. I understand the mistakes that I made. I at least admitted to it. I came out and said what I did, but I'm willing to become a family. We already are a family, but...
You want to work on this?
Yes.
She says she wants to try to be a family.
It's been a long session. Mr. Byron and Ms. Morris have taken the entire court on one long ride. There's just one way to settle all of this. Let's find out who the real father of this child is.
Mr. Byron, you are the father.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That really helped me out a lot.
How does it feel now?
Feels great.
Ms. Sissom and her teenage daughter, Destiny, are trying to prove Anthony Taylor is the father of baby Osiris. Anthony's mother, Ms. Brenda Riley, denies this, and the case spirals into family drama, with both grandmothers acting immaturely.
Your Honor, that Anthony is the father of Osiris.
And you are emotional already.
Yep. I have a grandson that's 8 months old. He needs his father. I lost my dad when I was 2. I know what it's like not to have a father. But I'm not here because of me. I'm not here because of Destiny. I'm here because of Osiris.
Ms. Sissom claims she didn't know her daughter, Destiny, was having intimate relations with Anthony, as Destiny only told her she was at her friend's house, Anthony's sister. Meanwhile, Mrs. Riley says Destiny often lied about visiting her daughter, but instead sneaks upstairs to spend time with Anthony.
My son was going to school. How you going to tell me what's a lie?
Because, Your Honor, they was having sex in her house.
You didn't even care where your daughter was
what type
at.
of parent is she? If she gonna tell them,
your daughter was
she
at.
told
You
them.
on the same phone.
She told
Hold
them
on,
to use
hold on.
protection.
Hold on, let's get some order.
Sex in her house.
Two adults are screaming over each other because Destiny fooled them both. She claimed she was visiting Anthony's sister, but instead, she spent time with Anthony, leading to her pregnancy. Both women were deceived, but the real focus should be on baby Osiris and determining his father, even though both women are being silly and trying to make it all about their drama.
I see her walking with another guy. My son at school, this is before Destiny said anything about you was pregnant. Next thing you know, I find out my son come telling me that she told him that she pregnant. How is that? You just came around 2 weeks ago?
Mrs. Riley seems to be saying that Destiny was never having sex with her son. This is despite it being clear that both teenagers were involved at some point. Ms. Sissom believes her daughter was a virgin before she met Anthony and thinks that it's impossible for Anthony not to be the father of her child.
Therefore, yes, it's Anthony's baby, and that's what we're here for, to get this DNA.
It's not my grandbaby.
Okay, don't claim him. You ain't claimed him in 8 months. Don't claim him now. Y'all ain't did nothing for him. I've been taking care of this baby. They don't do nothing for him.
That's a lie.
They don't do nothing for him.
Sure don't.
All right.
It's not my
And
grandbaby.
at the end of the day,
It's
when
not
it
my
became-
grandbaby.
Ladies,
The judge can barely get a word in because the two grandmothers are too busy insulting each other. It's almost like their personal feud is more important than figuring out the paternity of the 8-month-old child. Can you imagine having grandmothers like that? Let's shift focus now and hear what Destiny has to say.
Destiny, where were you and Anthony having sex? In her house?
Yes.
While Miss Riley was home?
Yes, Your Honor. She knew I was there because I get off work. Anthony would be like, my mom says you can come over, and I say, okay. I would go over there. I would come in, say hi, Miss Brenda. She say hi, we go upstairs. I spend the night. She don't say nothing about it.
Apparently, Mrs. Riley seems to be even more careless than Ms. Sissom. Destiny was sleeping in Anthony's bed, and his mother knew, and she did nothing about it.
Did she know you was having sex in her house? You know what Destiny told me, Your Honor? She said yeah because she told them, I hope y'all using condoms. She said Destiny said she gave Anthony condoms.
Yes.
What type of parent is that?
What?
Why would Mrs. Riley pretend in court that she didn't know about Anthony and Destiny's relationship? According to Destiny, Mrs. Riley was actually one of the first to find out she was pregnant. Yet, Mrs. Riley immediately expressed doubts, saying she couldn't accept the baby because she wasn't sure if it was her son's. Even Anthony didn't want the baby at first. This just adds another layer of confusion and denial to the already chaotic situation.
Like, we should just wait to have a baby because I'm not stable. You got a job, but I don't, and I don't want you to be the only one taking care of him. So we go upstairs, we talk more about it, and he said, you know what, I don't feel safe in the streets, so I think you should have my child just in case if I leave this earth. you can have something to remember me by.
Anthony thinks leaving a baby behind will solve his problems. Clearly not the best life strategy. And Mrs. Riley, let's just say her son's actions don't reflect well on her parenting. In short, the whole mess is a reflection of poor choices all around, with little Osiris stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
He came to appointments with you?
Yeah.
And when the baby was born, was he at the hospital?
He was there.
Anthony,
Yes,
I
we
still
was
don't
all
think it's
there.
his.
He cut the
I still don't
beard.
think
He
it's
cut
his
the
baby.
cord and
I
everything.
still don't think
She
it's-
even came without nobody inviting her.
I mean, if I don't like someone, you won't catch me showing up at the hospital for their grandchild, let alone pretending to care. But Mrs. Riley? Oh no, she went. Even though she claims the baby isn't her grandchild, and now she's conveniently denying it all. That's some serious nerve.
Came where?
To the hospital. Don't say you didn't.
Wait a minute.
Because they escorted you out. Me and Destiny had her
I
escorted
wanted
out
to
of the
see was that
hospital
my grandson.
by
You are
security.
being born.
We
and
sure
then She
did.
came
One
out.
at a time,
I wanted
one
to
at a
see
time,
that's
ladies.
my grandbaby being born in her rude, unselfish, disrespectful self. She comes in there. I'm in the waiting room. She's sitting the guard in there and tell them lying.
What's Mrs. Riley's deal? If she thinks Osiris isn't her son's kid, why bother showing up at the hospital at all? She claims it was just to prevent Anthony from signing the birth certificate and taking responsibility for a child he doesn't believe is his. But really, the focus is lost with both grandmas still at each other's throats. Now it's Anthony's turn to weigh in on whether he thinks Osiris is really his son or not. Let's see how this drama unfolds.
I picked Destiny and I took her virginity, and I felt like I was getting into a lot of trouble and things that was happening, and I felt like I needed another person that like got me like my blood. And like I didn't want to have a baby, but as in like the things that I was like going through, and like by my cousin dying, and
It's truly heartbreaking. Mrs. Riley is so fixated on tearing down Destiny and her mother that she overlooks the fact that her own child is struggling. This family dynamic is a classic case of dysfunction breeding dysfunction. But enough with the drama. The moment of truth is finally here. Is Anthony actually Osiris's father? Let's find out.
Mr. Taylor, you are his father.
I don't get to see him now. Now I told you. And I'm
You
going to
can't-
keep taking care of
Yeah,
him.
you
And at
can't
the end of the day,
stop
that is my grandson. I'm
can't
still
stop
going to take care of him.
Can't stop me.
I bet I
This is
can.
about the most ignorant stuff I done seen in here in a long time. Sit down. Sit down.
Ms. Whitman cheated on Mr. Mapson, the man she loves, with Mr. Anderson. All three of them are in court today. Mr. Anderson, on the other hand, knew she was intimate with other men when he slept with her and she had a baby. Because of this, he is denying paternity.
With other men besides me.
Specifically, how do you know that?
Because I've seen them up there, Your Honor.
Up where?
Me, for
No,
one.
I need details. This is court. I need details. I need facts.
Okay.
You say,
I'm gonna tell you.
yeah, you
Okay.
say you saw them with your own eyes.
Yeah,
Explain
yes.
to the court.
Okay, that's just precious. We have one of this kind in court again. Slept with his cousin, really, Ms. Whitman? Are there no other men in the neighborhood? It's wild enough that she cheated on Mr. Mapson with Mr. Anderson, but now she's cheating on Mr. Anderson with his own cousin. You're not in a cheating competition, Ms. Whitman.
Did your cousin tell you that he slept with her?
Yeah, we done gave each other daps and everything.
Ms. Whitman, do you know who this cousin is?
Yes, I know who his cousin is, but his cousin did not stay a week.
Well, how long did he stay?
No, I did not. His cousin liked me, but we never slept together. He bought me a bed when I first
I'm not
moved to
talking
my
about that.
apartment.
I'm not talking about that
Bought
cousin.
you a bed.
I'm not talking about that cousin.
Yes.
Are you sure about that, Ms. Whitman? Well, we will soon find out. But oh my goodness, what a woman. He got her a bed and he went along to test and break it in too. What a guy. Just how many cousins does Mr. Anderson have, and how many of them did Ms. Whitman sleep with again?
Did you have any idea that she was sleeping with other people?
Kind of had suspicions because of our relationship. It was a long distance relationship. Myself in that situation, then found out that it's not mine. It just, I didn't feel comfortable with that.
So you didn't go to any doctor's appointments with her?
Nope.
It was a long-distance relationship. No wonder Ms. Whitman had all the time in the world for Mr. Anderson and all his cousins. Oh, the hurt Mr. Mapson must have felt. There's no way Ms. Whitman was not hurt as well, seeing as she was going for all her doctor appointments all by herself.
I went through the whole birth alone, the whole 9 months. He even stopped talking to me, and I couldn't get a hold of Mr. Anderson because he blocked all communications, Facebook, telephone. phone,
Yeah, I
and he
did.
stopped answering the phone for me, Mr.
The
Mapson.
reason I blocked her off because of the stuff she was doing on Facebook. She was, you know what I'm saying, just out there just saying, this is my baby daddy, knowing she been with other
I've
people.
never put on Facebook that you're my baby daddy.
Yikes, poor Mr. Anderson. He lost his baby mama's trust. Isn't that crazy? Next time, if you have a baby mama that you do indeed take seriously, you don't go off sleeping with other women, okay? Especially women like Ms. Whitman that are sleeping with other men that you do know about.
Did you pursue a DNA test at all? Did you
Yes.
say, I want to have a paternity test?
Yes, I did.
What happened?
And we argued about that.
What's the argument? She admitted she didn't know.
He wanted me to pay half of DNA test, but Mr. Mapson also wanted me to pay half. I wasn't finna pay half for both people.
What a woman. The cost of both paternity tests was just too expensive to even think about. Well, Ms. Whitman, that's what happens when you have affairs with two men at the same time. It's called consequences.
Now that Michaela is here, has anyone bonded with her? Have either of you two gentlemen? You have, Mr. Mapson. So
Yes.
now that she's here,
I went to see the baby, and she was pretty. She was a beautiful baby. So I showed her around to my family, even called my kids, asked them what they think about her, and they all said, we believe it's yours, because she kind of looked like my youngest son.
He really carried that baby around everywhere, asking everyone in his family if the baby looks like him and everything. Of course, they said yes, too. His kids even think the baby looks like all of them. What a wild way to confirm paternity.
We're trying to get the results of this, and then maybe we could move forward. But I don't want to lose Mr. Mapson, but I'm afraid that if he's not the father, our relationship is basically over.
so Mr. Mapson, are you willing to work on this
did that.
relationship
I didn't
if in
do that.
fact it's determined that Michaela is your biological daughter?
She mine. I'm willing to be with her. I told her once that.
Oh, Mr. Mapson, this man is so hurt by the outcome of events, you just want to reach in and hug the dude. If he says that's what he's gonna do, we have to believe that's what he's gonna do. Now, it all depends on what the results have to say.
You lied in the courtroom
Knocking you through the
previously.
mattress,
You
that's
said
what we was
a
doing.
man was not staying there with you for
But
a
we
week.
were not having sex. He stayed there. He was sleeping on the couch. He stayed there until he got all his utilities at his house back
And you didn't
on.
tell Mitch
And I
about
was
that,
helping
did
him
you?
out.
No, nothing
No, I
about
did
that.
not tell Miss.
You've just admitted that you lied in the courtroom previously because you previously stated that a man did not stay at your home for a week when Mr. Anderson testified that he did.
Oh, Judge Lake has simply had it with Ms. Whitman. She just had to call her a liar in front of the entire court. What does Ms. Whitman think this is? There was no reason to lie about anything. The look on Mitch Mapson's face after he heard that was just priceless. This man has learnt of the absolute worst things today.
Mr. Anderson, you are not her father.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I knew it. I knew it all the time. All that stuff you've done to me.
We have another result. Mr. Mapson, you are her father.
Can I come up and shake his hand?
He'd like to shake your hand.
She does not believe it's her great-grandson. She's in court on behalf of her grandson and their family to deny the paternity of the child. We're adding another grandma to the list of stupid moms in court today. She adds that there are reasons why Ms. Brugger is intent on pinning the paternity of the baby on her family.
All right, you claim your granddaughter knows for a fact your grandson was sterile.
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you believe Ms. Brugger's motives actually are?
Money, gold digger. Right after Parrish got killed, she went for Social Security. And Parrish, I know Parrish had told her about the land we had in Texas. You know, she was just trying to cash in on him. And she wanted a father for her girls.
Take a look at that. Now she just called Ms. Brugger a gold digger, so she knows that her son was sterile too. Isn't that something? The way this woman keeps making it seem like she was the third party in her grandson, and Ms. Brugger's relationship is absolutely wild.
And the fact that they're saying he was sterile, he was never told by a doctor. That was just him because he never had a child.
Me and Parrish clearly had a conversation before he passed that he wasn't sure.
And so when you say he wasn't sure, what did he say?
Because he was just like, Chaz, I don't even think I can have kids. All he wanted his whole life was a baby. And then he gets with Rochelle, and then she comes pregnant like a month or two later. He didn't even think that he could have kids.
Oh, I see. So there was no doctor to diagnose his sterility. The only doctor present here is Ms. Warner and her granddaughter in court today. The way these two women are so confident in the sterility story is absolutely something. How could you possibly be sure enough to bring sterility to paternity court without clinical diagnosis? Oh, come on, moms.
We lived together. We were a family. He told everyone my girls were his stepdaughters. He called them his stepdaughters, everything. He was there through my whole pregnancy, all the doctor's appointments, everything.
And when you had the baby, was he at the hospital?
No, he couldn't be there, but as soon as he got out, he was adamant about having the hospital hold on to the birth certificate before they turned it in so that he could sign it.
So
As
do
soon
you
as he
have
came
proof
home,
of that?
Yes.
Now it's crazy that all these things add up. It honestly looks suspicious. It's enough to bet that if Parrish Sanar were in court today, bless his soul, he'd almost be jumping to support Ms. Brugger. So what exactly is going on with the Warners' testament? Why are these women against Ms. Brugger? Are they about to make an insane mistake?
While you were in this relationship, he's going to doctor's appointments with you, and he's excited about the baby and calling your girls his stepchildren. Is he expressing any of this excitement, Ms. Warner, Ms. Beasley, to you that I'm having a child, I believe it's mine?
Yes, Your Honor. Our kid.
But you just don't believe it is.
Yes, Your Honor.
You had a shower?
I had a baby shower, yes.
Okay, hold up. Now what exactly is wrong with these women? This man just told you about how he feels about having a family and how excited he is about having a baby with Ms. Brugger, but for God knows what reason, they simply don't believe it, and this is why they're here. What a duo.
You did?
I did go because of Parrish. Parrish was alive then. That was his baby. But to me, that's not his job. He loved the baby, Your Honor, but the baby doesn't even look like him. He doesn't act like him. His forehead's not, there's nothing about him to tell me that that is my grandson. The baby.
My son looks.
No, he doesn't.
Around
Where?
his eyes, he looks just like him.
No.
He looks like his grandpa.
No, that's not his grandpa. His grandpa ain't never did nothing for Parrish. I don't know what, no. Well,
That's what y'all say.
Again, what is wrong with these two? His grandmother went to his child's baby shower, listened to him go on about how it is his baby, but she does not believe it. Now she's going on and on about the semblance card. Ms. Warner, do you realize that this is your great-grandson and not your son?
In a relationship, he's been the one that's been around. I invited them to my son's first birthday party. They didn't show up.
That's not my son. That's why I didn't show
and
up.
if y'all felt this way about my son, why did y'all never
I
say
love
nothing
Parrish
when
so
he was
much.
born
I loved Parrish.
or when his father was alive?
I love
It was
Parrish,
never
and I
a
wasn't.
question.
Parrish is no longer here. He's no longer here now.
But if y'all
So I
felt
can
that this was
defend
not
that.
his
I can
son,
defend that
why
now.
wouldn't you say something when he was alive or when my son was born?
Oh, I see. She never wanted to come between Parrish Sanar and the baby. She loved Parrish so much and she did not wish to hurt him. All of this applies for when he was alive. Now that Parrish has passed, why? Oh, why are you doing this, Ms. Warner?
And then, Your Honor, there was also times when Parrish would call my grandmother that Rochelle wasn't picking him up from work. He was late to picking her up, and she couldn't explain to him on why all that was happening. There was times when she kicked Parrish out. He came to my grandmother's house. She had to give him money to stay at a hotel room.
Your Honor, the only time he was staying at a hotel was after he was gone out of my house. The girlfriend he had after me, they lived in a hotel. When he was living with me.
Hold up a second. These women thought they had Ms. Brugger in a corner. She came out of that and defended herself so fast, it knocked the bitterness right off their faces. If anything, these women have started to regret coming to paternity court right about now.
Okay, I have a question though, Rochelle. If it comes back and that is his, is my grandma even gonna be able to see the baby?
You cannot.
You act so funny. You act so funny with him.
I'm so funny, but
Why
you act
so funny with
Why
him?
weren't y'all at the baby
I wasn't
shower?
there because my 1-year-old was sick.
I invited you
and
to
I
his
talked
birthday.
to you. And what did I
you
tell
didn't
you?
show up.
And what
so
did I
how
tell you?
are you guys
So I'm
gonna
gonna
say
bring another
that I
baby.
don't invite you guys? Did
I
you
did
guys
come.
ever come to my
I
house
come.
to see him?
I
You
did.
came a couple
Yes,
times.
I
No,
you
I
never
didn't.
Did.
I have my own kid. Let's just
And
be real
Parrish,
about it.
but how
I
many
have my
times
own.
Just look at these women. They're completely into bickering right now. They don't even see anybody else. Would you look at that? It's a lot to imagine how Parrish Sanar would react if he were in this courtroom, but things would certainly take a different turn. To cut things short, let's see the results.
Mr. Harvey is related to Parrish Brooks Jr. Therefore, Parrish Brooks Sr. is also related to Parrish Brooks Jr.
Okay, I owe you an apology.
Something we already do.
I owe you an apology.
He doesn't believe it's his baby because they had sex on the first night they met. Because of this, he doesn't trust that she has not been doing the same with other men. Now she claims he did a fake DNA test to avoid responsibility. This case is wild as it is bonkers.
You know, for the weekend or just one night, so I want to go see her. And that day that I want to go see her, we basically had sex that first night.
It was not that
Yes,
first night.
it was.
No,
yes, it
no,
was
it
the
wasn't.
first night. Yes,
No.
it was. Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
Yeah, whatever.
Ms. Lopez, you meet and you start a relationship.
Yes.
You're having sex.
Yes, Your Honor.
Unprotected sex. How do we get to the point where you find out you're pregnant and there's a question regarding the paternity?
Shocking as it may seem, Ms. Lopez, men are quite disappointing, and you need to get with the program. Can you imagine her shock, coming to meet the person she had consensual, unprotected sex with and hearing that he is not interested in the baby? Judge Lauren simply had to ask her a question afterwards.
Was there any other person
No, Your Honor.
that you were having sex with at that time?
No, Your Honor.
I need to clarify. You're the mother of 2 children.
Yes, Your Honor.
But there is a doubt as to the paternity to both of the children. That's what you contend, Mr. Carbajal?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's start with your daughter that's 2 years old, Aliana.
Yes.
So you claim Mr. Carbajal was the only person you were with
Yes, Your Honor.
during that time that she
Yes,
was
Your Honor.
conceived.
Are you sure about that, Ms. Lopez? Mr. Carbajal seems awfully convinced that you have not been honest with him, and you are not being honest with the court. Also, wait a minute, she has 2 kids also? All of them apparently Mr. Carbajal's? Well, all right.
He says he's the father. He even has her name tattooed on his arm. He was there a
You
week.
have her name
Yes, I do,
tattooed
Your
on your
Honor.
arm?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Even though you doubt it?
Because when she was first born, I was attached to her. I was really attached to her.
Okay, so you were attached to her.
Yeah.
So then why doubt? What made you doubt?
She was the picture.
No, there was another man.
There
that
was not another man.
She showed my sister Miriam.
He was a friend
picture
of mine.
a guy, and my sister took picture of her phone.
Whoops, so there is another man? Did Ms. Lopez not just say that there was nobody else in the picture? Is someone lying in the courtroom today? Hopefully not. Back to Ms. Carbajal, why something as permanent as a tattoo if you're going to find yourself here today denying the same baby?
Second time around, he wasn't there either for the Noah's birth. I was there for Noah's birth. I was there for both babies.
Why could I be?
Why is it?
Why you were never
Yeah, I was
around?
gonna
You
go. I
changed
was
your
going.
phone number.
What is it about this handsome young man that you doubt that he's your son?
I'm light-skinned, Your Honor.
He looks just like his grandpa.
Dad is dark.
Of course, they would bring out the semblance card again. No day in court does this thing fail to be brought up. What do you mean you're light-skinned and the baby is dark? Could you possibly comprehend the genes of the baby?
I sent it because to show him that there would be another man, possibly, possibly to man up and take care of his responsibilities. I did not meet up with my ex until a month before I had my daughter. I had no sexual contact with my ex or anybody else but your brother, Christina.
That was too soon, though.
It was not too
Yes, it
soon.
was.
The time that you
No.
sent us that picture, you were already pregnant with Noah.
Yes,
and
you
that
were.
guy looks exactly like Noah.
Yeah.
No.
Whoa, Ms. Lopez, things are starting to look pretty wonky right now. Your ex is in a picture with your baby and you still showed it to Mr. Carbajal? Why would your ex choose to be in picture with a baby if he does not believe it is his baby? And why would he believe it is his baby if he has not been sleeping around with you? Your lies are not adding up, ma'am.
It's
My
a big,
son, when
dark
my daughter
man,
was holding.
She said she
and
got pregnant in November when I seen her in December.
I was not pregnant in November,
Yes, you
okay?
were.
I
Yes,
did not
you
do
were.
She came to
nothing with
visit.
nobody.
She came to
So
visit
you
to my
believe
house.
she was already pregnant?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Were you intimate with anyone else?
No, Your Honor, I was not.
Mr. Carbajal, do you believe you were the only man she was having sex with?
I don't know that.
Well, all right, Ms. Lopez. If you say so, if you say that there is no possibility you were with another man in that time frame, we just have to believe you, don't we? Seems like this woman is taking the court on a wild goose chase with her lies.
Mr. Carbajal, you are not her father. We have the results now from a laboratory conducted DNA test, and you sitting up there still arguing about a home DNA test. Now I know you all don't have no sense.
Oh my goodness, he's not the father of Aliana. It seems like both the potential father and his sister saw through her lies, but this silly woman attempted to lie to everyone in the courtroom. And Judge Lake absolutely hates being lied to. She asks the same question again.
Sleeping with anyone else besides Mr. Carbajal at the time?
One, Your Honor.
Which is the one in the picture.
It's not the one in the
Obviously.
picture,
Pretty sure
okay?
it is.
No, it's not, Christina.
Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
You stood in this courtroom and lied. You lied. So I had to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you kept, yeah. Every time I would ask you a question, you didn't really have a great answer. But you answered everybody else's questions.
I don't know what
Now,
to say.
Exactly.
Looks like we have 2 stupid moms here in court. What, did they really think that they could lie and get away with it? This is paternity court, Ms. Lopez. There is nowhere you can hide. The results will always rat you out.
now put your hand down and look at me. You don't get to go into boo-hoo cry mode.
You don't even
You're
talk to me.
learning a valuable
I got nothing to say
lesson
anymore.
right now. Mr. Carbajal, quiet. Mr. Carbajal, you are not
Thank you.
Noah's father.
Thank you.
Thank you.